You're listening to Being Built. I'm Aaron Davis, the host and the founder of Reliant Search Group. We're an executive search and technology recruiting firm. I want to, before I introduce my guest, welcome, I want to acknowledge one of our core partners. Technology First has been a supporter of the podcast for a long time and of my business. It's a professional networking and support organization for technology professionals. They have been a great partner to me for over a decade. If you're a small business, a service provider, they're a great way to meet decision makers, to connect with talent, to learn about what's going on in the technology industry. Membership with Technology First has paid me back 100 times over, 100-fold. The programming, the events, they do 4 big events a year. They do small networking events and educational events every month. And I couldn't recommend them enough. So little plug for our friends at Technology First, of which I know you're a member as well.
Absolutely.
So Gurvinder Rehki is my guest.
That is correct.
CIO and VP, yes. CIO VP of technology at the University of Dayton. So you've worked in academia for a while.
2.5 decades, actually, from 98 onwards, I've been in academia. I've been around the block a few times, right?
Yeah. You spent some time at University of Maryland.
So
tell me where you.
Yeah, so background. I started my career back in New Jersey as a programmer there, and I was with a small county college, Essex County College. I call it small, but it's really like 12,000 students, right?
So,
right in the middle of Newark, New Jersey, and I grew there to be again hands-on technologist, and then did my executive MBA, and just shortly after that, it was around 2005 is when I moved to Midwest.
Okay.
I was with University of Notre Dame for 9 years with them.
Okay.
Went back to the East Coast in DC. That was my last gig there with Catholic University.
Okay.
I was the associate CIO there before I moved here to be the CIO here at University of Dayton.
So I have to ask, are there any unique technological challenges for a Catholic university? Because it seems like you've got a trend, you've got a little bit of a specialty with the Catholic university.
Right? I look Catholic,
right? No, I appreciate the irony, but I'm assuming you're not Catholic.
I am not Catholic.
But you've got a career now in serving Catholic universities.
Yes, and when the executive recruiters reached out, they said, like, this is a perfect fit for you. It's like, perfect, right? But really, I mean, all mission-driven universities have their own especially faith-based universities have their own mission-driven agenda and primarily really serving people, right? And that human-centric and keeping that in the center and core of how we educate our students and so on. So yes, there are challenges, and I've been with Catholic institutions, private, right? Is big and small, right? Notre Dame comes among the top 20 institutions, and University of Dayton is among the top 100. So not too far off, but So the challenges primarily are around ensuring that we are giving back to the community. Right?
Yeah, I like that. That's a different subject too. You kind of segued into the kind of the cultural implications of each, entity, and I think there's some similarity, I'm sure, between those organizations being mission driven, being service oriented. That does kind of permeate a culture. Where I went to a networking event last week, and it was primarily for nonprofits.
Sure.
And then some, for-profit organizations like ours that support nonprofits and such. And one of the organizers came up to me. She's like, "You're one of the for-profits, are you?" I don't know what it was, my suit or something. I don't know what it was, but she knew I wasn't a nonprofit leader. It's like, do I have a smell or something? But I looked like a capitalist or something. I don't know what it was. But she sniffed me. It was a good-natured conversation, but she's like, "You're not a nonprofit. I can tell." So maybe there is something to it, right?
Yeah, there is. There's always like we're not always after the bottom line, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. Most higher ed institutions are not for profit, right? Including private and public and so on and so forth. But you're absolutely right. It's not always about making X amount of dollars. Yes. At the end of the day, it is still an organization. We still need to be in the black, right?
You have a budget and all that.
All the budget and so on and so forth. And our industry is going through so much change right now, right? And the drift is there. So we do need to meet the bottom line, but that's not the core mission.
Can you tell me about the challenges you're dealing with right now?
Right. So higher ed in general, and you must have read it in the newspapers as well, is we are going through what we call it as a demographic shift in our population, if you will.
Okay.
Right. So the number of high school graduates coming out each year is declining. And we are at that cliff where it's going to continue to decline for the next 10 years. So we are at that point where enrollment, which is our key driving factor for our revenue, is going down, right? So that's where we find ourselves. And we also, especially with this administration coming in and a lot of focus and highlight on higher ed, it's under a lot of scrutiny, for lack of a better word, right? So, so I mean, that's primarily what we are dealing with, is let alone the size of what we call it as our customer base, our incoming applicants, student population shrinking. We also are under scrutiny with all the above. So, so we have to navigate those waters, let alone, the enrollment challenges. So
I would imagine that makes the technology team in the university a key player in driving efficiency. And I mean, so how do you continue to deliver more and at a higher value with less, potentially less, right?
Yes, there's a lot of push and demand for that. And our teams, we, gone are those days where IT could be a black box and operate in the background and only be a service organization. So now we are kind of intertwining ourselves with the business, right? So one of the key things that strategically that at least for University of Dayton, with my arrival, I had done was like, we need to integrate ourselves with business and be the business partners, not necessarily just be, okay, what do you want to implement, right? But really provide that thought leadership on how we can help them look at what they're doing, do it better, do it efficiently, and some of the things which they are not even thinking of that we can offer. So our teams are going through that cultural shift. Our organization is going through that whole shift as well at the same time. So,
yeah, I find in my business the same kind of habit. So when you think about technology or other services, right? Like not an order taker, but a consultant. And what you just spoke to that really intrigues me is the idea of asking why, right? And when somebody says, hey, I need XYZ widget, why? Why? And then you're like, oh, okay, well, XYZ widget, I could see how that would be valuable in this context. But have you considered
this
ABC widget? That's another option. It would have this implication. And that consultative, these are the possibilities kind of solutioning, as opposed to, yes, sir, right away, sir. Let me go stand that server up, right?
IT organizations in general, and this is not true for just higher ed, it's true across all industries, is we are no longer just what we call it as, a technology management organization. We have all evolved over time into being business partners, being a service organization, and really providing that thought leadership, right? We don't know what we don't know. Our business partners don't know what they don't know. But we are generally skirting around and flirting around, if that's a word that I can use, with technology all the time. And those possibilities they are not necessarily evident to the business partners, right? So to say, how can we gain efficiencies? 9 out of 10 times is not the technology which they're really going to, is going to make an impact. It's really their business processes. But being there, present in the room and talking through it, that light bulb goes off, right? So it's really a win when the business partners start calling you to start discussing business challenges rather than technology challenges.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. And then we can worry about, how do we solve it using technology and move forward? So if that's an option, right? So,
yeah. I had a flattering call the other day from a customer who wanted to strategize with me about something. And I was like, why is she calling me? I remember thinking, like, why? It was an acquisition. It was a big merger. And she was kind of tapped to do some analysis and due diligence. She's like, well, this is what I'm thinking. And she's talking through it. And I'm like, as I'm Q&Aing with her and giving her some tips or whatever, I had to remind myself first and then her, like, hey, by the way, I'm not an expert in this. So why do you call me? Because I like the way you think. And that is such a, so what you're talking about when your customers call you and they want to talk about the business with this technologist, right? Yeah. They're realizing that you actually think about them and you care about them at a higher level.
So what you just described as what you did was build trust.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you became the trusted partner. It doesn't matter whether you were a technologist or not. You became the trusted partner on whom they could lean on and run those thought ideas. Right. Mm-hmm. Happening to be a technology leader is just icing on the cake at that point, if technology is an answer. Right. But if it is not, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Right. But at the end of the day, we are in the business, especially in higher ed, we're in the business of higher education. Yeah. I'm not in the business of technology management.
I love
technology management. It comes as part of my job responsibilities, but our first focus is, teaching and learning and research and making sure the administration and operation of the university functions, right? And then go out and manage technology, secure the environments, use AI or whatever the case may be, right? And so on. So
when did you start to experience that shift in your career where, you referenced early in your career, you were an executor,
correct,
a technologist, right? A doer.
Correct.
And then at some point, somebody asked you to take more responsibility, take on leadership, et cetera. And then somewhere along that way, before or after, you started, people consulted you.
Correct.
They're like, hey, how do I run my business?
Yes.
When did that start to happen?
It's funny you asked that question, right? It was back in 2000.
Okay.
It was as early as my first couple of years in the United States. And, as I was working through and doing that, and I was sitting and coding, and then I said, like, what am I doing? Right. And I paused for a minute. So what am I actually doing? I'm trying to write code and whatever that case was, and eventually solve a business problem for somebody. But I didn't relate to it, right? And I wanted to. So I made myself uncomfortable, right? Got up, went and met the registrar for whom we were doing this project.
Okay.
And tried to start understanding as to what were we trying to do that this thing that we were doing is going to help them. And we then changed a little bit of direction as well. And that was a moment when I realized that I will probably remain in technology, but I'm getting into technology management.
Yeah.
And then slowly start moving myself into service management. So that is how I started picking up every nugget of opportunity that was coming my way.
Yeah.
Including my executive MBA in management of technology, et cetera, to very thoughtfully and carefully moving my cheese around so that I could gain the experience across, the breadth of the organization rather than just the depth of the organization. So,
As you were saying that, I was thinking, well, that sounds like a CIO in the making to me, right? A coder who doesn't just take for granted that this requirement is well, defined, but says, why do you want it this way? What are you doing? How do you use it? Right?
Correct.
I've loved I worked in software for a while myself, not coding, but working with customers and building staff and teams and such. And so I was close enough to it to understand the value of that and for a software team or for a software organization. And it is so, it's really valuable both in the external service industry, of which I was a part, and when you're trying to change the culture of an internal organization to a services organization. How can I serve you? Why? What are you trying to get to? That kind of mentality or whatever. So it's, what's funny to me, Gurvinder, is how often the enterprise, or in your case, the university, is trying to emulate the consultants, and how often the consultants are trying to win the intimacy and the perspective and the insight that the internal organization has. And unfortunately, they don't just pair together and sit down and do it together and share notes enough. It's this very transactional kind of thing. But I often hear best practice from each respective entity about how they're trying to emulate some behavior from the other.
That's right. Yeah. That is right. Yeah.
Let me go back a little bit to we were talking about the earlier days of your career. I think I got a sense for what inspired you to go into leadership is that you just had you you were born with that or what?
So,
where did that come from? The bigger picture of you, you know?
Yeah. So, and I don't know if it was my earlier career, for lack of a better word, right? So prior to coming to the US, I was born and raised in India. I did my computer engineering there. Mm-hmm. And I spent first 4-5 years of my career there.
Okay.
And, I started my first job out of college, even though I had done my computer engineering, mm-hmm. And computer science was not necessarily a degree which they were offering there. It was computer engineering. Okay. So software programmers were also coming out as computer engineers at that time. So pretty much my entire graduating class from the college that I was from, colleges were attached to the larger universities. So it's Bombay University and Mumbai back in India. And so the college that I was coming out from, almost every single kid that graduated with me went directly into software programming.
Okay.
Right. And I, on the other hand, went into sales and marketing.
Oh, did you?
So I started off as a salesperson for hardware.
Okay.
Right? So I sold desktops and then eventually moved into laptops. And laptops were just coming in at that time. Early days, $2,500 each sure. laptop, and with 4 megs of RAM.
Yeah, now you can buy 10 times as much for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah,
right?
Those were the days, right? Yeah. So very quickly, I realized that I think I will stick to sales and marketing for a little bit.
Okay.
And
what a great skill to have as an executive, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's all it is, right?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you're marketing yourself, right? So sure. Really, I mean, the product sells on its own. That's why I was talking about that trust piece. Is really you have to sell yourself. Mm-hmm. Products will sell, right? Whether it's consulting, whether it is services you're offering, True. Whether it's a hard product that you're offering. Once you've built that trust, it's automatically going to sell, right?
So, what's the value of talking points if you're not being heard?
Right. Are you really taking care and building that business partnership, if you will, right? So that's where I really learned that skill, if you will.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Don't forget where you're at. I want to come back to it, but a slight detour. Have you read the Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey Jr., I think?
I have read through a little bit of it. I didn't finish it.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Read it on 2 times speed or whatever, because some of it's belabored details, but there's some great points in there. It's interesting that you mentioned trust so many times in this conversation already, because I'm listening to that book now on Audible.
Yeah.
And it's got some good insights on exactly what you're talking about.
Fantastic.
So, timely affirmation of what I'm learning.
So very quickly, I think it was a year and a half into my career, I moved into, again, marketing.
Okay.
But orthopedic implants and sutures, completely different industry.
Interesting. Okay.
Totally different industry.
Yeah.
And then you really have to have a big heart and a big stomach.
Right? Okay.
Especially
going
because
into healthcare sales. Yeah.
Healthcare sales in the
surgical supplies.
Surgicals, right? So I'm talking about orthopedic implants and sutures. And what best way or better way to build trust than actually standing next to the surgeon while they're operating, scrubbed in.
Wow.
And seeing the surgery. Some of them lasted 16 hours, right? When they were doing spine surgeries. The others, the ophthalmic surgeries and all, was like, I would see 30 of them in half a day, right?
What a cool opportunity.
Right. And so on and so forth. But that's where that really taught me the humbleness of, how complicated this being is, right?
Yeah.
and there is really somebody above us. So the trust piece really came from my job was really to turn the organization around, and I was given a region to get into the sales. The company was really sales driven, but my focus was really about building trust. The product will sell, and it did, right? And we established ourselves. As I was kept getting closer to Y2K, there was a big demand for computer engineers and software programmers, and everybody was hounding on me like, what the hell are you doing?
Right. You've got this knowledge, use it, right? But you were doing important work already. I mean,
yes, it was. And I was actually visiting the United States.
Okay.
I had just gotten married. Me and my wife, Tina, we both came here in 98.
Okay.
And it was a 2-month trip. We were living up in New Jersey with Tina's aunt.
Okay.
And that's when she started pounding, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
So,
and you're right, the Y2K, and there was a lot of demand right there for the technology skills that you had.
Yeah. So I was introduced to the president of Essex County College at actually an event. And he said, like, we need people like you.
Okay.
Right. Would you be interested? And I said, like, I can't work in the US. I have no work authorization.
I see. Okay. So this was very early on.
Right. Very early on. So he said, like, don't worry about that. We will go through the process with the attorneys. We'll get in touch with you. But first come and meet our, director of IT.
Okay.
Those were the CIO titles in those days. Right. So I met with the director there, and within 30 minutes of meeting him, he was already signing an offer for me, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be.
Wow. And you had never worked professionally as a coder?
As a coder, only college days and some experience at the company where I was doing the surgical thing. I was helping them a little bit with some of the, Fox Pro and DBase.
I see. So you had put some, done some functional things.
A little bit, right? But that was not my full-time job, right? So
clearly they saw some talent there.
Right. So rest is history, right?
Yeah.
So, I started my career there. I spent some time doing what I said, and then, started looking for management positions, and here I am. So
how long did you spend there in that first job?
7 years.
Okay.
6.5, 7 years. Yeah. I think 2005.
That's a meaningful building experience.
Yes. It was really spending some time, and then I spent exact 9 years at University of Notre Dame, August 1st, 2005 to 14. August 1st, 2014,
really?
I was at Catholic.
The same day, huh?
August 1st, 2023, I was at University of Dayton.
Wow. That's a special day for you, huh? Don't take a meeting from Gurvinder on August 1st.
9 years.
Don't let him go. So your reference earlier to your kind of like coming of age as a technology professional got me thinking about influences, right? And I think somebody like you strike me as somebody who's just you've got an innate ambition, and there's something in you that just drives you. And I identify with that. Nevertheless, I'm sure if you reflect on your path, you can think of a few people who have nudged you the right way, or set some kind of aspirational vision for you, or said they saw you as this or that, maybe in a way you didn't see yourself yet.
Yeah.
Who comes to mind when I talk about mentors or leaders who have influenced you most?
There are a few.
Okay.
There are a few over the years that have influenced me. It started off with my uncle back in India.
Okay.
And
tell me about it.
So he was the one who was the manufacturer of orthopedic implants as well, right? So he's the one who really gave me that break, if you will.
He's the one that stole you out of selling laptops.
Exactly. He says, what the hell are you doing?
That's cool.
Yeah, let's go into high technology stuff, right?
Yeah, cool.
Something which is more meaningful and so on. But he's the one who always pushed me to say, like, you not only did he increase for lack of a better word, if I can state that, is my confidence. Yeah. Right. I can do this. He also pushed me. Right. Okay. So that he was one of them. Then, of course, in every job, my managers, I was lucky, to have the right mentors, and many of them still continue to be my mentors.
Really?
Yeah. Nice. Yes. At University of Notre Dame, the ex-CIO there, Ron Kramer, I consider him as a mentor as well. My colleague, who's now CIO at Miami University here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. And David Seidel, and and many of the other colleagues and peers, right? So off and on, I would tap on their shoulder and check with them, like, did I overspeak in that meeting?
Yeah.
What should I have not done, and what should I do, and how do I change my course, and so on and so forth. And I've received some good feedback, and that has helped me grow and position myself.
So you've figured out how to present yourself the right way now. Do you ever do that still?
I do all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Because I do too. I'm like, am I being a child? I always ask my staff, like, did I come off the right way?
Yeah.
So that's interesting you said that.
Yeah, I do that. And in fact, actually, yesterday I was having a conversation with a vendor and had to set the record straight with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to my associate CIO and said, like, did I overdo this?
Did I handle that right? Yeah.
And unless you get that reflection and somebody's there to guide you, if you don't ask, they won't tell you, especially as in leadership position. Nobody's going to go in and say you're full of crap, right?
Yeah.
But you do need that feedback at times. So.
That's what I find to be really difficult is, when you've got authority, influence, power of whatever form, whether it's as a subject matter expert, as a boss, as the customer, whatever, you've got some kind of power in a relationship. Getting honesty it becomes work.
Correct.
To prove that like you're vulnerable enough and that they're safe enough.
Yeah.
And that it's valued. I've got one individual on my team in particular who I worked hard to earn that trust with him. That, hey, your career, you're highly valued. You're more valued to me. And I think he's started to believe it. And then I got more good critical feedback and then he became even more valuable. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
But that's, maybe that will always be a challenge.
Yeah. And then it's always good to reflect, right? And those are the reflective moments that, every opportunity that you get. And this is what I tell even my staff and my teams is that, look, I don't know everything, right? That's why I surround myself with people who know the stuff. And especially as you go up the leadership, chain, if you will, we need to continue to know that we cannot do everything, right? And knowing to pull the right people, surrounding yourself with the right people, and ensuring that they also get the credit, right? Don't take their work and walk away with it.
Yeah.
And you have to remind yourself, right? Consciously remind yourself to do that, right?
It's a reasonable thing to feel proud of accomplishing something when you lead a team.
Yeah.
But you do have to be, it's funny as I coach a little league soccer team, Hugo, my 8-year-old. Okay. And when they score a goal, it's really tempting. To run down the, and shake your fists. And I've tried to create this habit to tell the young men who made the assist.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
So, hey, tell Lance he made that assist. Yeah. Tell Hudson he made that assist, right?
Fantastic.
Just because these are young people that I hope will grow up with influence and authority and accomplishments, right? And to look around and acknowledge your team. That's one of the things sports does for you, I think. It forces you to, team sports, forces you to acknowledge the people you're dependent on. Hopefully.
Yes.
If you've got a coach who cares about that or sees that. But I try to do that even with these little 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds.
Fantastic.
And man, I should probably pay more attention to it for the 48-year-olds. Right? Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah.
You know what's awesome is hosting a podcast with really smart people. I get this, I don't really have a board of advisors. I guess I should. But like a couple times a month, I get to interview people that tell me leadership advice. And you guys all come in here and you do it for free.
hey, literally, we are not experts, right? We're just sharing experiences.
But you are,
right?
my man. You are.
We're sharing experiences.
You're literally doing it for a living. Is there a better expert?
Yeah.
Well, can I turn to UD?
Yeah,
to the University of Dayton?
Sure.
So anyway, thank you for those. Thank you for those wise words. That's helpful to me. You're challenging me. So at the university, you've been there a couple of years now?
Yeah, 2 years, couple of months.
Yeah, okay. So you're a couple of years into it. Honeymoon's over, right?
Honeymoon is over.
You know where the water cooler is. You know who's going to be there. You know what they're going to talk about, right?
Yep.
But I'm sure it didn't take you 2 years to get into the weeds and start identifying the problems / opportunities, because they're one and the same, right? What are your big kind of like works in progress and accomplishments to date, and kind of what are you working on over this next period?
So and I'll break this into 2 tracks, right?
Okay.
Technology and non-technology, right? So the biggest biggest nut that I'm trying to crack is to change the culture of being this business partner and thought leader, right? So we're trying to change the organization, and I can't do this alone, right? Our teams have to be there and walk with me, and so on and so forth, is to wear the lens of being technology managers, but at the same time start opening up and be vulnerable in the sense that you're opening up what you're doing. So that folks, when I was meeting early days of mine, as I was meeting various leaders from various different, organizations within UD divisions, department heads, vice presidents, and so on. The common theme was IT is doing a great job. We just really don't know what you're working on at any point in time, right? Because it was almost like a black box, right? So you put in a request, it goes into a ticketing system, and then it is like a black box, right?
Yeah.
And that feedback loop, for lack of a better word, was, I won't say it was missing, but it was inconsistent, right? And there was a big backlog of projects and so on and so forth. So bringing some of that in front of our business users, right? It is not IT that is driving what we are doing. It is really you who is driving what we should be working on, right? As business leaders, and having that connection and opening it up, not only at the executive levels, but also within each group or division. So for finance and administrative services, we created a governance team, which was, with the leaders from each of their groups, and they are helping us prioritize what we should work on. Same thing for student services and student systems, same thing for faculty and so on. So we created some of those governance structures and making all of these things visible for them. The other part which we and what we were really doing was trying to build that business partnership piece of it, right?
How did you increase the visibility of those things? What kind of things did you do?
Simple things, even like list of projects on a Google sheet and open it up, right? Yeah. Now, of course, we have a proper ITIL tool and so on and so forth. So we're building dashboards. It's crazy though how often the simplest things make the biggest impact. Very simple things. A flipboard or whatever, right? Yeah. Right. These are the things that we're working on. These are things next in queue. These are the things which we have not prioritized, they're waiting. And these are the things which we either canceled or are on hold. And these are the things which we have accomplished. Simple.
Yeah.
Right. Color code them and that's it. And it's visible. And then somebody might come in and say, wait a minute, this has jumped in priority.
Okay.
Can you pause that initiative because this has, jumped up and so on and so forth. Yeah. And then there was also that, oh my God, moments of crapload of projects are still on hold. We need to talk to leadership in general, executive leadership, as in my business partners talking on our behalf to say, IT has a huge backlog. We need to staff them appropriately. And so that's where you've already built that trust that you can deliver and so on. So I'm not going to say that we have conquered that. We have started crawling. We still have to, walk and then start running. So now the teams are all equipped and they understand culture is changing and so on. And then the thought leadership piece, right? Okay. The question normally was, when people would come to us and say, can you implement this? And our questions normally would be, how soon?
Yeah.
Or what are you trying to do?
What's your budget?
Right. By then the train has already left the station because they have already made the payment. The product is bought. Back in the day, prior to when the CDs were still in existence, we would say that people will go and buy the shrink wrap and give it to you and say, go implement. Right. So I still use that analogy that we never want to find ourselves there. We should be part. And so that's what the team is working on and so on and so forth. In terms of larger IT initiatives, right? So we are looking at our next generation ERP.
Okay.
So that's a big initiative that we have just launched. We're in the selection process and so on. So that is going on. We are doing data modernization. AI is everywhere. So AI is also top on the list there. And then,
helps to get your data right, of course. Right.
and then there are a plethora of infrastructure initiatives. So what I was talking and describing was really the business initiatives, right? Modernizing the business, modernizing and using AI to help and so on and so forth. But there's a plethora of infrastructure initiatives like improving our telecom system, unified communications, and so on. The list is there. So the way I'm trying to channel this is we are always busy, but we always have time. And the reason is because there are always swim lanes in which work is being performed. So maybe my applications team is extremely busy with ERP, but my networking team can continue with their projects, right? We are not going to hold on projects because we are doing the next generation ERP. And the networking team is yes, they are going to keep the lights on. No, we may be continuing to do advancements there. So it's really balancing that and making sure everybody understands.
You've got a lot going on.
We do. And early on, it was less than a year in, and our president said, let's go and do an assessment of IT across the university.
How do you even do that? I hear people talking about an IT assessment, and it always just feels like it feels inaccessible.
Correct.
To do an IT assessment, because there's an entire universe of technology accessible, available. So like, how do you even start to define what you should be assessing for?
Correct. Right? So what we were targeting in this, we narrowed the scope down so that it is achievable and we can produce some results.
Something you can get your hands around, right?
Yes. So IT support across campus. So that's what we started with. Right. And we quickly realized that we were distributed quite a bit, right? I mean, there were unit IT and so on and so forth. And so I worked with the VPs and deans and so on. And now we have folded in almost all distributed IT into central IT.
Okay.
What that gave us was with several folks from distributed units coming in, we were able to define structures and verticals of support.
Okay.
Right. Administrative client services, academic client services. We created an academic technologies team, academic research technologies team without actually adding any resource.
Yeah. You can
repositioning.
Just taking expertise and making it accessible to other end customers.
And what I call that as realignment, not necessarily a reorg.
Yeah.
So not everything was put into a shuffle and then moved the chairs around.
Okay.
Although it may appear some of that, but the focus areas were created.
Okay.
And then started breaking down the silos within our organization that, we need to have leadership meetings. We need to see the budget together. All of us, and really drink your own Kool-Aid first. Right? When we ask the business to tell us what is on their mind, we better be prepared to tell what is on our minds. Right? So we started ourselves first, made ourselves vulnerable, and that's how we started gaining trust. And
I love when you started talking about the biggest things that are in motion or you've accomplished or that you're working on it. You referenced a very low-tech human thing, which is to, essentially your objective is to change the culture to be more service-oriented and do that by creating more transparency, more visibility. And then you ended the whole thing with exactly that too, right? Being vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. You referenced a Google Doc.
Yeah.
So I ran a software organization as an operating officer for a software services firm, and one of the most important technologies we had there was a magnetic whiteboard.
Yeah.
Right? And we would put masking tape of the different colors, and sometimes we would experiment with yarn and magnets and whatever.
Yeah.
And those tactile, this was before COVID, so we were all in that same space together. And there's other little digital boards for that now, but it's the visibility to a couple of key pieces of information that was just so fundamental. And you don't need a big complex system for that.
Correct.
We, in our case, we were able to get by with a magnetic whiteboard that we literally put magnets and marker and masking tape on. And it changed the culture of the organization, because then we would do projects. And so there's this constant panic over something would end. I mean, nobody would be looking forward to that and preparing for it. So just managing resources that went from the CEO's problem to everybody's kind of engaged in that.
Exactly.
And they can kind of see it out of the corner of their eye and they're aware of it. They're like, oh, so-and-so's wrapping up too. I wonder if the two of us could work on that.
Yeah.
Right. And then it just became something that was accessible. The problem was solved before it was even said out loud.
Right.
Just by putting some masking tape on the wall. Right. And you're talking about transparency and giving your customers visibility into what you're doing by just saying, hey, we're working on it. It's maybe coming up next, hopefully.
Yeah.
Can't get to that this year or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to be able to show everybody like, hey, we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Would you argue that this should be more important? And just making that an open conversation.
Yeah.
That doesn't take,
you
don't have to code anything.
Yeah.
Right. There's no integration necessary.
That's true.
Just provide a handful of people access to this information and
true.
Boom, you've changed the culture of the organization.
That's true.
So that's as a technology leader, it's funny to me that I'm so impressed by a Google document being a solution that you impacted your organization with. But how often is that the case?
Yeah. And just being there and when things are not going well, being transparent about that, right?
True.
That's the vulnerable piece of it, right? Hey, look, we don't have an answer. We'll figure it out. Just bear with us, right? Trust that, we will walk with you on this. And sometimes we're going to fail miserably. There are a lot of lashes on my back too. Stories that we can talk about that we have learned through. And that's why I keep telling our teams as well that we will always draw a line in the sand. It's not going to be a line which is drawn in stone, if you will, because you can erase it and draw another line after that, or move it or change directions and so on. But be ready to do that quickly and be agile all the time. Because if you do set a very hard rule and are not ready to budge, that's when the ego kicks in, right? Is like, oh my God, Gurvinder told he's going to be doing this and is not ready to budge, even though the project is failing or whatnot. And then you're trying to, in the process, you're burning, what I call it is be ready to take a big bath, even if it is 1 year into it, and say, this is not working, move to the next project, or you move directions and say, we tried, we failed, we learned, and now we have to move, right? So,
you reminded me of the subject of conflict and, the kind of the various tactics used to deal with it. Can you think of sorry to throw an interview question at you, but I've been interviewing for this as of late, actually. So some of these questions, if they sound like interview questions, I apologize. It's my day job bleeding through.
That's all right.
How do you deal with conflict?
How do I deal with conflict?
I know that's a big nebulous question, but you have to, I know you have to see conflict in the role the responsibilities you have, right? So.
I think we have to create safe zones for folks to talk, right? And in this particular case, if I have personally at my level have a conflict with, one of my peers or what I call it is as I need to have a constructive dialogue with them, right? Because we are not seeing eye to eye on it. Go have lunch together, right? And open it up and put the elephant right in the center and say, how do we deal with this, right? And be ready to start learning from their perspective what is missing in the picture. Sometimes it's just the conversation that throws that out. The other times it is a lot of conversation that you need to have with that individual, and whether it is my peer or my one of my team members or even my boss, for lack of a better word, right? So it can be in any direction. And be ready to accept that you may not see everything eye to eye. That's okay. And once you have established that level of connection, then you can easily move past that. Then it's no longer a conflict, it's difference of opinion, and that's okay. Right? And
or if there's even one left. Now that you share perspective, right?
Right. But if it's my way or the highway, then we have a problem. Right. That's when the real conflict becomes confrontation, and then it starts escalating pretty quickly. Right. So
been watching this show called what's it called? Succession, and the main characters. This is very forceful, kind of mean, leader who's mostly always right and getting spoiled to thinking that everybody should do it his way or the highway, right? And it's a great fiction. But in reality, you're so ill-served as a leader if you only ever force your own way. There's just the complexity of things is just too. There's too many little details to miss if you feel friction. I always find that. I'm trying to identify with what you're saying here. I always find friction as an opportunity for me our political context right now is a good example of that. So you hear a lot of that, and that's almost exclusively the context of like public policy and stuff is conflict, right?
Right.
So I know when I see something that rubs me the wrong way, I'm like, so there's something I don't see there. Why does that compel that person that way?
Yes.
If it's somebody I know and respect and love, I'm like, why does my whatever? And I think letting conflict provoke curiosity is kind of a missing art.
Right.
All right. Well, I would give you the job then.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's a successful answer to that question. That's really well done, Gurvinder. Well, can I segue to a different topic?
Absolutely.
So still on UD.
Yeah.
When you think about, as I kind of get closer to the end, I like to think about what's next.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of in the last few minutes of our conversation here.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your vision and how you see, you're a 9-year guy, a 7-9-year guy. You're not a 2-year guy, right? So I'm assuming you've got some plans still ahead.
Yeah.
And you may even be thinking ahead what's out there 3 years from now, right? What's after I kind of nail this inning, the rest of the game, how is it going to be played, right? So as I start pointing you toward the couple of years ahead, and you've got a couple of wins, these projects go your way or some other way that's not foreseen, but they kind of come to a conclusion. Some of the evolution of the culture starts to create more of a transparent, consultative context that feels right to you. What's your vision for what's next for the university, or how do you see some of the challenges that you're faced with being met? Are there other challenges ahead that are not yet solved, and or are there challenges ahead that you feel like you know where to start?
So funny you asked that question. As I started our conversation with, higher ed is going through a lot of change, right? There's a lot of uncertainty, especially with technology that has come in. AI is a big one, right? Elephant in the room is everybody is trying to see, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Right. Will we, where is higher ed going to go next? How is it going to evolve? Right. At the end of the day, and this is our provost and our president saying this, that at the end of the day, we issue credentials to students to say what they learned here. We attest that they learned it here.
Yeah.
Right. Or was it ChatGPT or,
in
our case, Flyer GPT or whatever.
You're putting your name on it, right? Yeah.
Right. Is the one that they use to pass through the exams and all of that. Right. So we are at that stage to see, how do we evolve from there? So I, frankly, to tell you the truth, yes, I used to normally know that in the next 3 to 5 years, this is what I would like to achieve. I would want to get to the next level and all.
Yeah.
There is so much that we don't know right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It surely is. I was talking to folks and of course, our leadership across the university is also curious to know, how do we evolve? How do we adjust? And we need to do it rapidly before we for lack of a better word, competition takes over, right? And so on. Is how do we evolve quickly and provide that? So we are all battling with that. We are all challenged with that. Some of my applications team have started using tools like ChatGPT or AI
Claude
tools, whatever, is to help them code faster.
Okay.
Right. And those are like quick wins.
Sure.
Something which would have taken 3-4 hours is now available to them in a few minutes. And then now they're spending the next hour to validate what it produces is what we really want. Right.
Interesting.
So it
make sure I can do that again.
Exactly.
Is it safe to work that way?
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, how do you use that concept, right? And what I call it as humanizing it, right? To make sure that any tool, any AI tool that we will use in any of these things, some of the basic processes that, when you do this, and this needs to happen. Yes, you can use AI agent and agentic AI and get that taken care of. But then there are others that you're looking for, you're researching or you're doing stuff. But you need to now validate what has come out of it. Right. So what we are and again, this is not related to as a technologist, but as a higher ed professional, how do we do that next thing and make sure that our students are ready for the job market, and they will be employable because we have trained them and they have those skills and so on and so forth. And what does that mean for our workforce? What does that mean for our technology evolution and so on, right? There was I had mentioned, we were talking about doing a selection for next generation ERP.
Okay.
Right? Can I tell ChatGPT to go and select the ERP for me?
Yeah. It'll pick one.
It surely will pick one.
It'll give you a list of 4 of them or whatever. It may not be the right list.
May not be the right list. And then I think we were in the room and folks were saying that it'll be nice if we can go in and tell the AI agent, go run payroll for me. Right? Yeah, we want to get there. Sure. Then why not just say, go and install the next generation ERP for me, right? Yeah. So there will always be the use of AI, which will help enhance our productivity. The human element will always need to be reflected on thoughtfully. Otherwise, we'll be rolled over, right? So that is the piece that we are trying to understand is where do we all need to contribute to make sure that it just doesn't get out of hand, in other words. So I was not dancing around your question.
No, I love that answer, Gurvinder, because it's so the truth right now that I think everybody is struggling with. Is this thing as promising as it promises? Is it not even close? Or is it some kind of jumbled mess that leaves like 6 gaps we haven't thought about? Correct. Right? And that's probably the likely answer. Yeah. And we don't know what they are, right? We don't know what we should still be. I feel this in real time because we use AI to build our vetting packages and to help customers understand exactly what they're hiring for and help prompt us to ask the right questions, that kind of thing. It's very useful, but there's a ton of validation still necessary. And there's a ton of expertise we have to bring to it to get it to be productive in the first place, right? And so what will be the remaining gaps of expertise and scrutiny and validation that are worth building a credential around, that are worth preparing for to then use the tools that do the things for us that we no longer have to do. Exactly. And what's going to be covered and what's not going to be covered over the next 6 years to prepare your students is still a big unknown, and we're right in the throes of it. Right.
And what is ethical and what is not, right? Because that's a huge part of all of this, right? So that's why we are talking about making it human-centric, to make sure that we are not losing our values in the process, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true. Well, one last question.
Sure.
Do you have any hunch or confidence anywhere on that spectrum about what is going to bring clarity to exactly how you attack or define that problem so you can attack it?
Yeah.
Do you have any sense yet for what you're looking for to tell you you're on the right path or we're focused on the right problem?
So,
and if you don't, that's okay. Because I think
no. As it relates to AI or as it relates to anything,
the AI problem in particular.
AI problem in particular. I think the hunch or clarity will be when what we produce or the tools that we develop, especially for the students, are getting used the right way. Right. And so there have to be some guardrails that we will need to put in place and so on. And then test that did they actually learn what we were trying to do. Right. So that is a loose hunch that I have, but I don't have an answer as to how to do it. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. So essentially measuring when you're able to see them be productive with AI and yet still measure.
Correct.
They're learning, right? And there's a big gap in that now.
Correct.
Papers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for indulging the ambiguous with me, because that is a scary little spot right there, right?
Yes.
And thank you for being a guest on the podcast. I really appreciated you being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Likewise.